Real quick video right here for you. Be brutally honest. Is anybody getting drag queen story hour vibes from this? And stay tuned because you're going to see the middle finger gangsta ring salute.
I will make sure that I don't stay silent. I'll keep speaking the truth, no matter the cost. No matter the cost.
Notice the subtle middle finger? And this isn't the first time she's done this with her handkerchief bling bling hand. Now let's turn our attention to Dan Bongino, one of the worst liars in Washington's District of Criminals, as he says, if you're a corrupt politician, we're going to find you. I don't have any friends in Washington.
Let me ask you about, are you going to be looking into, Cash and Pam, any potential collusion between the DOJ, Letitia James, the novel legal theory of Alvin Bragg, or Nathan Wade, or Fonnie Willis and the DOJ?
You know, Cash and Pam, the two people you're colluding with to hide and cover up the blackmail pedo ring.
Is that something? Has anything come up? Is there any way to determine whether or not evidence was destroyed in any of these cases?
Well, there's always...
Well, I don't know, Sean. We're too busy destroying evidence ourselves.
The way to determine that. I don't want to comment on that specific case right now for a reason. I don't want to get ahead of the Department of Justice on that. But I want to say this. You know, the FBI obviously has the public corruption portfolio. And yes, if you are a corrupt politician out there, if you are engaged in behavior, you know what you're doing, we're going to find you.
Name a politician, Democrat or Republican, that's not engaged in corruption. Every one of them who put their signature on the Patriot Act, which trampled every one of our Fourth Amendment right to be secure in our persons, houses, papers, and effects, should be put in jail and all their assets should be liquidated. But Dan, Cash, Pam, they're not going to go after them.
Promise. No one is going to get off. The days of selecting and putting your partisan bias on and taking care of your friends, those days are over.
That's every politician who ever existed in America. This guy's a freaking liar.
You know what, Sean? I don't have any friends. I don't want any friends. Well, maybe outside of you and a couple of. I don't care. I didn't come here for the money. I didn't come here to make. I know.
No, you didn't go there for the money. I can tell people that for sure. No, I didn't come here to make friends.
I don't give a damn about friends. I don't have any friends. I don't want any friends. I got my wife. I got you, and I got a small crew of people. So I don't need any friends. If
you want a friend in D.C., get a dog.
We're coming for you.
That'll help.
Yeah, exactly. You want a friend in D.C., right? Go get a Labradoodle like I have, because there are no friends in D.C. You've been doing this, 30 years? There are no friends here.
And since he's been on the job, Dan Bongino hasn't done a damn thing for justice. Here's the latest propaganda from the Department of War.
And the president's made clear, we are not going to continue to allow these cartels to flood the United States with drugs.
To every terrorist thug smuggling poisonous drugs into the United States of America, please be warned that we will blow you out of existence.
You want to stop these?
Without charge, without trial, without due process of law, hey, you're just guilty. And every boat represents to us 25,000 dead Americans. We're from the government. We're here to help. You can trust us.
Drug cartels, you have to make it clear to them they're not going to get their boats here.
Each boat that we sink carries drugs that would kill more than 25,000 Americans. We will not let that happen.
And Republican Jewish Coalition member Lindsey Graham had this to say.
Good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
You're probably killing all the wrong people because that's what government does. And taxes have gotten cut. My taxes haven't. As a matter of fact, the hidden tax inflation has gone up under the Biden administration and under the Trump administration.
You can sit in a basement with weird people and say weird things. It's a free country, right? But if you ever run for office as a Republican and you embrace this weird shit, we're going to beat your brains out.
You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them. They don't have a lifetime job like a bureaucrat who we're going to protect.
Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham have spent their lives protecting Washington, D.C. bureaucrats. Speaking of protecting Washington, D.C. insiders and bureaucrats, the press secretary just so happened to be standing in the perfect spot when this photo was taken. Because whitewashing is exactly what every press secretary does. That's their MO. That's part of their job description. Corinne Jean-Pierre did it for Biden. Carolyn Leavitt is doing it for Trump. Kayleigh McEnany did it for Trump. And Jay Carney did it for Obama. Whitewashing is exactly what the press secretary does. As a matter of fact, they should just call him the Secretary of Whitewashing. And after floating the idea of a 50-year mortgage for Americans because they can't afford housing, this video is going viral because they say that Donald Trump is getting mercilessly booed at the Commanders game today.
Welcome the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, as the President swears in the seats of our United States military.
See, when I see videos like this and people try to tell me, hey, this is nothing but boos, they're booing Donald Trump, I hear the boos, but I also hear the cheers. I hear the yays. This just seems super subjective to me. What's not subjective is what Donald Trump says right here. People that are against tariffs are fools. In other words, because tariffs are taxes, people who are against government-imposed taxation that makes it harder for Americans and American businesses to get by are fools. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation. Is that what you're experiencing? And a record stock market price. 401ks are the highest ever. We are taking in trillions of dollars and will soon begin paying down our enormous debt, $31 trillion. Record investment in the USA, plants and factories going up all over the place. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone. What is that called? That's called a socialist program. So what's worse, a Mamdani socialist saying that he's going to implement socialist programs, or a conservative Donald Trump who says he's going to implement conservative programs that are really socialist programs? Socialism by any other name is still wealth redistribution at the barrel of a government gun. And people who voted for Donald Trump because they wanted to see a change, they wanted the economy to get better, they wanted society to be better, they wanted to see things that were cheaper and higher quality goods, they're having a change of heart. And for some reason, they're under the impression that when a person that they voted for does some crappy thing, that they didn't vote for that crappy thing when they know the person they voted for is going to do crappy things that they don't like. So this is exactly what you voted for. When you vote for a personality, you're also voting for the policies that this personality is going to bring to pass. But here's what they're saying.
We are Americans. We are not slaves. We are not slaves to the plantation owner. We are not slaves to China.
That's just not true. We are slaves to the plantation owner because guess what? The plantation owner owns the issuance and the value of our currency. And if the plantation owner has that much power, they control your time and your labor because that's what you're trading for, that product of your time and labor, which is today's currency. So if the master owns your currency and the value of that currency, they are the plantation owners. We're on their plantation and we are slaves. So what he said isn't true.
And we are not slaves to Wall Street.
That's not true. Because of the politicians, we've become slaves to Wall Street. And if Wall Street gets in trouble, guess what the politicians do? They tax us to pay for the indiscretion and the corruption of Wall Street.
This 50-year mortgage idea is a spit in the face. It is an insult. We did not vote for this. We did not vote to become debt slaves to private equity firms and the big banks in Wall Street.
It is an insult. And yes, this is exactly what you voted for.
Right now, the median home in America costs $500,000. At the prevailing mortgage rate of 6%, you would have $580,000 of interest payments over 30 years. If we went with this ridiculous, inane idea of a 50-year mortgage, that would be $1.1 million of mortgage payments for a $500,000 home. So you would end up paying $1.5 million for a $500,000 home. My grandfather, who was a World War II vet, he passed in 2018. He always told me that we don't want to pass down this national debt to the next generation, to our kids and our grandkids, to become slaves to China. I'm not worried about China anymore. I'm worried about becoming slaves to Wall Street. And the know-nothing Republicans and the do-nothing Democrats seem to be working together once again to push this usury on Americans. It is an absolute insult.
You didn't mention Trump in there. Aren't you a Trump supporter? Didn't you vote for Trump? Why aren't you mentioning Trump? He's the one who's proud of this 50-year mortgage deal. And by the way, what does mortgage mean? It means death pledge. So you are basically on the hook. You are a slave to the bankster system and to those interest rates.
If we want to get serious about housing affordability, the crisis that is staring down my generation, when my dad was growing up in the 1960s, half of 30-year-olds, half of them were married and owned their home. Today, only 15% of 30-year-olds are married and own their home. If you can't own your home, you can't get married. If you can't get married, you can't have kids.
Nobody's owned their home ever. Even if you've paid your home off and you don't have a mortgage, you don't own that home. Guess who owns it? The people you pay property taxes to. Stop paying those property taxes and find out who really owns your home, because they will foreclose on you. They will move in. They will call the sheriff's department. They will call the police chief and get the cops out there. Armed men will come to your house and say, get off our land. You stopped paying your rent.
If you can't have kids, then honestly, what is the point?
What's the point of even saying this or even objecting to a 50-year mortgage when you're not going to object to property taxes and the 30-year mortgage and the crazy interest rates?
Insult. This is a genocide against the Gen Z generation to try to foist this sort of slavery and usury on us. We reject it 100%.
No, you don't reject slavery. You just reject it when it's dangling really big dog in your face. You're not rejecting slavery, though. If we were really rejecting slavery, we wouldn't even take to the streets. We would just tell the IRS. We would tell the people who are trying to impose the income tax on us. We would tell the people who want to collect the property tax. We would tell the Federal Reserve, hey, we're going to institute sound money and we don't care about your Federal Reserve note of debt.
If we want to get serious about housing affordability, why don't we ban Blackstone? Why don't we ban Blackstone, which is one of the largest donors to the Democrat and Republican Party? Why don't we ban Blackstone from buying up entire neighborhoods, and then forcing us to rent from them? If we're serious about housing.
How about BlackRock? How about State Street? How about Vanguard? How about Palantir?
Why don't we take the 55 million people here on immigration visas and remove them from our country immediately, because they are living in homes that could be going to Americans who have been here, who have worked hard, who have fought and bled for this country. I am sick and tired of the do-nothing Republicans and the know-nothing Democrats being in bed with Wall Street and forcing us to become slaves, debt slaves, forcing us to accept this unmitigated, unencumbered usury.
But he's not going to, I mean, a lot of what he says is right, but he's not going to come against Donald Trump. He's leaving Donald Trump out of this equation.
We did not vote for this. The 50-year mortgage. If this is allowed to continue, the Republicans will lose the midterms, and they'll deserve it.
Who cares if they lose the midterms? They're hitting us over the head just as badly as the Democrats would hit us over the head. It's not about who's in Congress. It's about who controls Congress. This guy right here is not in control. He's dangling from a bankster string, and the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can turn this ship around. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below, and I will see you in the next video.